Are you getting ready to use a new virtual or hybrid event platform and you're a little nervous about how it's going to go? Well, I'm going to lay out 4 strategies that I use as an event producer that have set me and my clients up for success whenever we're using a new platform for a virtual event. Before I jump into it though, I do want to remind you to like, subscribe, turn on that little notification bell so you get notified every single Monday when I drop new videos. I'm Logan Clements, freelance event producer, and I make videos about virtual events, hybrid, Zoom, event production, and running your own business. And if you're someone who loves more free content, I also am the co-host of the Better Events podcast, so you can listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts. But without further ado, let's talk about those new event platforms. Now, I will say I feel like every time I talk to someone, there is a new event platform that's popping up. It's very exciting because they all come with their own unique bells and whistles and things like that. If you watch more of my videos, you know I'm very knowledgeable on Zoom. I tend to default to that, especially when I have events where the audience is a little bit more older. We're all more familiar with Zoom, but that doesn't mean you can't try something new or try a new platform. So these are 4 things that I will say you have to do if you are using a new platform to set yourself up for success with your event. And the first one is test, and test some more. I have countless videos on here, I feel like, sharing my tips and tricks of things I've learned trial by fire by actually doing. And the biggest one is always test everything. So this is something you should do before you even select the platform if you can. If you can get the platform to give you what we call like a sandbox, like you are a kid, they give you a free little site area that you can kind of play around with on the front end and the back end to make sure it's doing what you need it to do. But once you've selected it, do make sure you test it. So like if you want to go live, practice live streaming on the platform before you actually open the event to attendees. Or if you want on-demand content, practice doing that and making sure it works. Practice setting up a sponsor booth if you have sponsors. Practice sending a message to a colleague or a friend on the platform if that's what you want your attendees to do. I actually even have a lovely little post-it note that I keep with me all the time that just says test, and test some more, because you can never test too much. So make sure you leave time in your timeline for when you're launching the platform to test. And my next strategy is create a really good know before you go email. And I will link to my video that I've made with the things you should have in your know before you go. But please, please, please don't skip it. I'm not seeing it as often when people are using Zoom because we've all learned now how to unmute and mute and turn our camera off and where's the chat. But every time you're using a new platform, you need to send them a very, not extensive, but like key details know before you go email. So have it in writing, something that people can go back and how to log on. Am I on video? How do I chat? Things like that. Don't skip it. If anything, have multiple ones because you really want to make sure that folks are comfortable and ready to use your new platform on your event day. And my third strategy is make sure you set up some demos on the actual platform with any key players. And how do I define key players? This could be speakers, this could be attendees, this could be sponsors. And setting up an actual live, you're on video talking and answering their questions. They could either be very hands-on and in the platform with you, touching buttons, practicing going around, or you could just do it on a video call, on Zoom, on Google Meets, on whatever your Teams, whatever you're comfortable with. But actually showing them what they need to be doing and walking them through those steps, and mainly just answering questions. If anyone says, I can't figure out how to upload my profile picture. One of the cool things I saw at an event, the virtual event on virtual events, that this is by Sage Consulting that they do, and they actually do tech checks for attendees. So if you're going, it's all in Zoom, but they offer certain times you can sign up for, and you just pop in a Zoom room, and they made sure that you knew how to unmute, turn on your camera, know where the chat was, and it was very relaxed, and they offered tons of different times that you could kind of hop in and hop out. And it was great because it was a touch point with the attendee. They made me feel comfortable. This was in the early days of Zoom, and it just got me excited for the event. Another bonus here is just making sure if you are doing something on a video conferencing software, record it and send it to anyone who can't make it. Again, you're not going to solve all of your problems that folks will have with your new platform, but you will help those that show up, and that definitely helps you have a more successful event, knowing you actually have a couple people who really are familiar with the platform because of all this work that you've done ahead of time. And my last strategy would be to incentivize folks to log in early. So the way you can do this, if you have some gamification on your new virtual event platform where they get points or they get a code, then they email that and they get entered to win a gift card or something. But if you're opening your platform a couple days days ahead of time, which I also encourage you to do if that's a functionality on your virtual or hybrid event platform. Incentivize folks to do that. Again, I've done this as an attendee, and if it's a brand new platform and the first time I'm logging on is the event day, there's going to be some issues. You forget your password, you don't know how to log on, how do I get to the session? These are questions you can answer ahead of time, especially if you're just kind of in that know before you go email, incentivizing folks to log in early. So the big lesson here with all of my strategies is the more information in different formats that you can give your attendees, your speakers, your sponsors, any key players ahead of the event day, that will help make everyone feel more comfortable on the actual virtual event day. And the analogies, I love to make in my videos are often that, what's the analogy if it was in person? This is like you're going to a brand new venue that no one has been to before, and it has a very complicated parking or check-in system. Think about what kind of resources you would give folks, like lots of signage, or you'd send them that know before you go email. Maybe you have phone calls with key players. It's very similar virtually. The hard part is if someone is lost in the virtual world, that means they can't log on, they can't click on things. It's a lot easier for them to disengage with your event. So if retention at your event or the turnout is very important to you, I highly suggest you go back, rewatch all these strategies, and make sure that you implement them into your planning process whenever you use a new event platform. Well, that's all I have for you folks. I'm Logan Clements, a freelance event producer, and this has been another installment of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to event planning, event production, and running your own business. I release new videos every single Monday, so give me a follow or give me a like. Let me know what other questions you have as we get more into this virtual and hybrid world, because folks, it's here to stay, I promise. And the cool part about it is it does open more doors for connection and interacting with folks, not just in your general vicinity, which is kind of cool. So stay excited, and I hope to see you next week at my next video. Bye.